Oh,
no.
go.
No, just.
Oh, I thought it was straight in the drink.
I don't really understand how to get power on putts.
Honestly, it's a lot harder when it's cold outside than it is when it's warm.
Y'all were watching from a different angle. Yeah. I mean, like, be honest. Don't, hurt my feelings too much, but let me know how you did.
Really okay. There was one thing. I thought that you looked absolutely ridiculous out there holding 5 discs.
You didn't like how I was holding them like Uno cards or something?
You know, like truly is his grip back.
I'm Paul Ulibarri, and this is episode 4 of Scratch to Scratch. This episode, we are going to be focusing on getting Trevor some putting advice. And in order to do that, I called one of my good buddies, Brian Earhart, who's a fellow teammate on Team Discraft, and he drove all the way in from Nashville to help me out. And so he's gonna go over the putting stroke with me. We're gonna kind of refine his overall form and kind of analyze it a bit more, because after this episode, he's going to be off and running. I'm definitely nervous moving forward because I don't know what this next episode's gonna look like. I don't know how good he's going to be. I don't know what kind of work he's going to be putting into that, but that's also on me. So it's up to me to make sure that he's doing these things. It's up to me to make sure that the form is good enough for even the minimal amount of practice that he does put in will go a long ways. And so, that's pretty stressful, but at the same time, I believe in my coaching ability. I believe in the people that I brought in to help me get him there, and that's all I can do. So I am pretty excited.
My name is Brian Earhart. I am originally from Chicagoland area in Illinois, and I have been touring for the last 3, going on 4 years for disc golf full time. And yeah, Paul called me to come up here, and I thought this project was really cool. I think no one has really done anything like this before, and we'll see. I don't know how this is going to go for this guy, but he seems to be coming along pretty well.
Basically, what we want to do today is we're going to build a putting stroke for Trevor and for Brian to kind of analyze and see, put his kind of 2 cents in there, because he is very analytical in the way that he teaches, and I love that about him. He's really good at like fine-tuning the things that I teach, which is timing and things like that. So I really respect his input, and I'm excited to see what he's able to tell Trevor so that Trevor can improve.
Today, I've been told at least one of the things that we're working on is putting, which is great because I don't know how to putt. Third one's going in. I got the feel now. Don't have the feel now. Don't have it.
So the first thing I like to teach when I'm trying to teach putting is there's a lot of different ways, right? There's a lot of different ways to make putts.
I noticed that watching different guys.
Yeah.
Like everybody seems to have a different way to putt.
To me, the most important thing is your release point. There's a lot of things that happen before that we can fine-tune, of course, and do all those things, right? But if you were to get behind, like for me, example, and my stroke, my release point, the way that my hand looks, everything will be the same. Even the way that I hold it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Basically, you have 4 joints you use when you putt, all right? You have your shoulder, you have your elbow, you have your wrist, and you have your fingers. Those are all part of the whole process. So I always have a checklist that I do before my stroke. My first one is my shoulder. So we aim the shoulder where we want to aim. Okay. And the next thing is the elbow, right? We'll just go down the list. Shoulder, elbow, wrist. Now I'm under control. Fingers, they should never break out. And now you're creating a place to get to for a release point. Now the next thing is, for me, is where you're aiming. I think that this spot right here is the sweet spot of every basket. I do. With hyzer is what it's called.
Okay.
So I putt with hyzer and I aim there every single time, because where's my miss gonna be?
Probably low.
It'll be low or middle.
Yeah.
So now I'm making putts when I miss. The next thing is your stance. I noticed that you were really kind of short stance like this, like didn't really have a lot of places to go.
I have no baseline of this at all whatsoever.
Exactly.
So I mean,
so we're gonna
I kind of like watched some people, and like some people had like the super like squared up stance. Other people were like this. I'm like, this doesn't help me at all whatsoever.
So like I was saying, you're kind of short stance, kind of closed off here.
Yeah.
You want to create room to come down and have a stroke.
Okay.
So then we widen, because then you're able to lean over a bit more.
Is your toe point
And you're able,
to where you go to where
you're
you want
able
it to go?
drop here, and you have more room. Okay. If you drop here and lift up, you don't have like a big swing. You see this?
Yeah.
So you want it to come over to the left a little bit. However you want to do it. If you want to tuck it in this way, whatever's comfortable, I think, first of all.
Okay.
Does that feel comfy? That
Yeah.
looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Perfect. Yeah. And now you're a great putter.
We're good. Wrap it up. We're done.
So far, Trevor's strong points, I think the one thing that I go back to is how coachable he is. I like that I can tell him something and he's able to repeat that physically kind of right away. That's a very rare thing when it comes to students.
One thing I will say is just the concept that you've probably gathered from other sports that you've watched and analyzed is just limit moving parts and start from the ground up.
Yeah.
So a lot of the good spin putters in disc golf, they keep the disc very kind of neutral and tight to the body, and a lot of their movement comes from legs. So they're pushing off the back foot into the putt.
Okay.
So if that kind of makes sense.
Sure.
And then the other thing is you see a lot of new players that spin putt because that is the only putt that makes sense to them.
Yeah.
But they kind of do this little like curl it up and
Yeah.
You don't need to do that really.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
again, at the end of the day, most putts that you'll feel comfortable with hitting are 30 feet, 35 feet, and that's a solid putt. You don't need to do a crazy motion for that, you know? It's throwing a disc 35 feet. Yeah, and just honestly, as you move back, you'll benefit from weight shifting more and literally pushing off the back foot and then counterbalancing with your follow through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
His spin putt, the way he throws the disc on that spin putt that we just worked with him on today, I think is weirdly impressive. I think putting is the hardest part of the game for even a professional player, and the fact that he's able to hold a follow through and was even making the disc, you know, making putts from 20 feet, that's really impressive for somebody who just started playing and really hasn't played a lot of disc golf at all. So I think if he just keeps working with that, obviously he's an athlete. You could tell he's played sports before. I think he could be very successful. And I think with the style of putt that seems comfortable for him, he's already ahead of the game. I think that's a really good start for him.
I think he picked it up really, really fast, and I think his stroke looks great. And now it's just repetitions after that, and I don't see any problem with him really picking up those strokes kind of in the circle putting. So I just wanted to see his form again and have Brian kind of go over it with me because of Brian's input. Like, I really trust his judgment and the things that he teaches. And this is the last episode for a while, so I want to make sure that we're running on track and that the form that we choose moving forward, Trevor's going to be putting up a lot of shots by himself now. And I want to make sure that he's equipped with all the tools that he needs to do that. We got about 190 feet to the target.
Okay.
And I just want you to start throwing this way. I want you to keep the shots from the left side of the flag. So keep them all on the right side of the flags.
Okay. Went straight, but not where I wanted it to go.
Dang, you kind of crunched that one.
Not too bad. So he actually told me off camera, and it makes so much sense, that in baseball, his stance was open. So when he played baseball, his stance was even more open than a normal player would when he's hitting a baseball. So that actually directly attributes to why he was throwing a disc the way he was. How his front foot was tilting open and doing everything. It was just exactly a translation from baseball. So it's a very common issue to have that baseball player footwork, but I think, as we saw, the ones that he threw correctly looked great. So you're aiming for the basket, correct?
Yeah.
And the farthest shots you threw went that way,
Yes.
correct? So this is why. You threw the disc exactly where your body was aligned. And I'll show you this.
Great.
Yeah, but it wasn't aligned to the basket.
Right.
It actually was
Sure.
aligned to throw
Right.
that way.
Right.
So that's promising.
Okay.
So this is a huge common issue in disc golf for new players. I call it baseball player syndrome. In the footwork, they have this good first step, they have this good second step, and then what they do is, just like a baseball player hitting a ball and stepping even with this back foot, they subconsciously always swing this foot wide. Instead of being here and having this linear extension, if you swing that foot wide, you only can hit here. And this is only thrown with the shoulder, and it's weak. But if you step wide, but you pull properly, I'm not going to you, I'm going that way. And that's what you were doing. You were going here, 1, 2, swing wide, boom, way out that way. So that's where your power was coming from right there. So what you do is, just like walking, left foot and right foot don't cross over each other, right? They don't go like this when we're walking. So this linear X step that you're taking, here, here, keep this front foot in its lane. Don't swing it in the same, plane as the back foot. Does that make sense? Drive it forward here. So it actually looks like you're kind of staggering. Yes. And then the other thing is, this plant foot keeps wanting to kind of show itself to the target. In order to even get that pivot motion to happen that the top throwers have, keep this hip flexor turned either inwards or flat. Yes. Because that way you can hit, throw, and then follow through. Does that make sense? So yeah, give it a try.
All right.
And just literally, like, even if it looks silly, close that last step off. Yes. Yep. You popped it. So since you're used to kind of having to throw like that, with like no power and there's no like snap happening, you're gonna have to eventually unlearn that. The motion is not here. The motion is, you have this 90-degree angle that you create with your X step in your arm here, creating that 90-degree angle again, letting yourself unload your elbow, unload your wrist, and throw the disc. But when you go like this, baseball player syndrome, you have none of that. That's where the lack of distance was coming from. You'll unlearn it naturally. Yes, even that looked better.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the sidearm.
Nice.
So
then, what do you think you struggle with most with the forehand? Like, what's the thing that, like,
when we went out and we played 9 holes, there were a lot of instances when I would almost stop my follow through to just try to flick and get more power on it or whatever. And so I don't know, just really tips for the follow through would probably be.
So the faster and more overstable disc that you get, these really sharp, violent looking discs, you can get on them and keep the disc above your elbow and just pop them and then let your whole body come through. You can literally look like a pitcher throwing a pitch. Right? But the slower and more understable, so flippier disc that you get, the more you kind of ease back in your stance and you can pop it. A rule of thumb to follow with a driver, like a faster driver, is to keep the disc above your elbow. Just the whole time. Rule of thumb, the moment you drop last second, it's just gonna go woo! So just, I'll throw a really basic one, but what we wanna do is let our body, the top, our center of balance, come over the disc once we're done. It's more like throwing a ball once you get faster and faster with the disc. So I'll just do a little one-stepper.
Oh, wow. You cannon that.
Yeah, and you see how sharp the angle was that I put on
it?
That's kind of the trick with these. The moment you show the nose, you tilt the nose up and you put hyzer on it, these things don't like to fly. They just crash out.
So how did it come out of your hand? At what angle?
Is this standard kind of stack grip.
Okay.
Where it's just, you kind of make a little handgun with your hand, and then just right here. Middle finger rests on the inside. It's kind of tucked into here.
Okay.
And now you don't have to grip it super, super hard, but it's still secure in your hand. And then let me see the bottom. Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what it is. So then, again, rule of thumb. Yeah, exactly. Disc above the elbow. So let yourself snap it and then follow through your whole body.
How should it come out of my hand? Like this? At
Yeah,
this
let it
angle?
get out in front of your body. The faster the disc is, the more you can get it out in front of your body.
Okay, and fully follow through, you said?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
If you gave that height, actually, I'll let you throw another one.
Okay.
If you gave that height, it would have worked. Yeah, and then watch it flex out. So that disc has a tough time actually flipping over into the ground, so it's actually really forgiving once you learn them. And that line, that kind of like hit it with some anhyzer and let it kind of flatten, flex out, that's a distance line.
Okay.
So if once you learn how to control that angle, a lot of really cool things kind of open up for themselves.
Gotcha.
So with the slower stuff, you're popping it like you're cracking a whip or throwing a catch frisbee. Faster stuff, get it out in front of your body.
A little bit higher.
And then, exactly.
Gotcha.
Brian was great because he was able to kind of relate what I was doing to different sports. Like Paul's been able to do that a little bit as well, but Brian was definitely very visual on exactly what I needed to be doing. And for him to be able to kind of come in right away and say, hey, it's the footwork part of it, or hey, I'm seeing this because of this, that analytical approach of how he was looking at my technique, that was definitely different. It was great to hear another voice, another great voice to help coach me and hopefully get me to a scratch golfer.
If he cares enough to put the time in, I think he could be a very solid player just by the way his body moves. I think he could get very close to at least shooting a scratch round. There are courses in the Charlotte area that are very short wooded courses where if you're hitting the fairway and you're making putts from 20 feet, you can shoot close to a scratch round. But I think he's got to work on the putting, which is always hard, especially under pressure. And I think if he just learns to throw straight with that new footwork, he'll surprise himself.
So we are at a familiar spot
Yes.
where we usually chat about our stuff and you get gifts and it's a happy place, but you have work to do today.
Okay.
We are actually going to go in here and you're going to pick out your bag. If you have any questions, you have two guys that know a lot about
I'm gonna have a million
the disc.
questions, so I'm glad that y'all are here for this.
And obviously I have to thank Discraft for providing these discs for us, and they're actually going to be sponsoring this particular episode so that you can get a bunch of free discs.
Only Discraft in the bag then. That's it.
Are you
Only
kidding?
Discraft in the bag.
You better
It's the
believe
only,
it.
that's the only disc I can
It's
throw.
It's the best. It's the best disc on the market, and
Yeah.
that's there's no argument there.
No doubt.
This right here is your realm. I want you to start feeling the plastic. Tell me what looks cool,
Okay.
what sounds cool to you, and then I'll tell you if that's a good one.
Okay.
This is every disc golfer's dream, to just go into a place and be like, I can really grab whatever I want.
Well, this one's called Undertaker, so
Very good disc.
I feel like it's got to be cool.
It's a very good disc, especially for beginners. I feel like it's a neutral stability, which
Okay.
is nice. It's
Okay.
a little heavier. And when I, obviously new terminology for you, when I say a little more stable than the heat that you were throwing really nice, like
Yeah.
sidearms on the course.
Yeah.
That's a really understable. So if you throw it like sidearm, it's going to go left. You throw it backhand, it's going to want to tend to go right.
Okay.
This will go a little straighter
Okay.
or more to the left. I like the idea, especially for beginners, to get a variety of discs to figure, because you are going to be practicing different shots. Like the lesson you had with him today, sidearm.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to throw any of those sidearm.
Okay.
Backhand's a little different. I feel like with good form and backhand, which you already have, you're going to want a little bit more understable discs, more controllable discs. But
So
yeah,
which numbers would be higher for like a more controllable disc? What you said, like a more.
Yeah, so for your arm speed, I would say if you look at like a 5 glide, I think a driver that would go really well for you, really straight for you, would be, say you had like a 7 speed,
Okay.
but it was like a 0 for high speed stability.
So
something
just
that,
go straight.
yeah, it doesn't take a ton of speed to get it to fly right,
Okay.
but it just holds the line. This is something that you can grow into. The Undertaker
cool.
is designed for like pro players and solid amateur players to throw dead straight with a decent amount of distance. So this one, forehand and backhand, would be great for you.
Okay. All right. All right. You guys gotta help me out. Pick some ones that you think would be good, because if not, we're
You've
gonna be here all
already
day.
been throwing the heat. I believe you need a heat. So
Okay.
let's get the one with the dragon
Which
on
one?
there.
Oh, let's.
because-
We gotta pick the best logo one.
Yep, the dragon is really cool looking.
I think I might like this orange one best.
Sweet, there you go, boom.
I think I might like this one. Okay, perfect. This is that white one that you were.
Exactly,
that we
I'm
were
all
throwing,
about
right?
it.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
I think honestly, for sidearm, most like top sidearm throwers that are throwing Discraft are throwing a force. And I think it's a lot of disc. It's a fast, overstable driver. But I think for working on that flex line and kind of that distance, like faster disc forehand, as opposed to the flippier disc that we worked on too.
Yeah.
I think the force is an amazing place to start.
Okay.
All right, let's head over to the mid-range area.
So, I don't even know what am I looking at here. What's the big difference with
You've
these?
already been throwing a soul.
Okay.
So you already know what that is. And then I think the Meteor is a great disc, Brian.
I think it's a super underrated mid-range.
Yep, very underrated mid-range. So I would say pick out one of those, grab a
Okay.
red, blue, whatever.
I think I like the red one.
I will say the coolest thing about our mid-range lineup is it's one of the most robust mid-range lineups in disc golf. And as you're throwing that Meteor, and say you start really figuring it out and you're like, I wish there was a mid that did a little bit, something different at the end or in the middle. We have a mid that does that.
Okay.
And that's the beautiful thing. And a good tip for equipment as you're moving forward is if you find a mold that you like, say you find a mid-range that just goes dead straight.
Yeah.
Don't try to buy anything else. Because eventually that mid-range you like is going to beat in.
Okay.
And it's going to flip a little bit more. So all you have to do is have a stack of the mid-ranges you like and then just keep cycling them in your bag.
Okay.
And a lot of top players have 3, 4, 5 of the same mold in their bag, just at all different stages of age, essentially.
So is the most important part of a mid-range as more of that? I assume it's kind of more of an approach shot, right? Is the most important thing about that throwing it straight? Like, is most of the scenarios that you're going to be in throwing the disc straight?
Exactly.
This is a Buzz SS, so it actually leans towards beginner friendly, which is, I would pick one of those up.
Okay, all right. These are all the same. There you go with this one.
Love it.
Nice. I think I'll go with this one. Peachy.
Love it. And then I'm actually going to pick out your putter. I
Okay.
think that this is a really good, this is called a Roach. This is Brody Smith's stamp right there. With
Nice.
all that
I love
stuff.
it. I love this one.
Yeah. So I think it's really important to have 2 putters that are the same. That way you can get the reps in. And
right on.
Obviously,
Nice.
the grip's the same and everything.
Perfect.
So those are going to be your 2 putters.
I love these. This is sick.
And we're going to fine tune it, obviously. We'll get discs in and out of there, but that's essentially how you pick out a bag.
Wow.
And then last but certainly not least, my signature disc, the Raptor. You've thrown a few of them.
Damn, look at you.
Yeah, and these are all sold out here, and I didn't want to just get the stock version. I figured you needed to get the one with the
This is
last name on there and everything.
Beautiful disc, man.
Thank you.
Holy cow.
So you gotta have one of those.
Yes.
In your bag.
I'm gonna do it proud. I promise.
Love
I'm gonna
it.
do
Thank
this
you,
disc
thank you.
proud. Thank you so much,
Yeah, of
man. This
course.
is beautiful. Yes.
We are back at another round, of course, and we had a long day. We got a lot done today, though.
We did. I felt very accomplished today. Even before you guys so graciously filled out my bag with a bunch of new discs. I mean, like, going through the punting motion, I think, I don't know if you were within earshot distance when we were going through the round that we were playing, but I said after one of the putts that I brutally missed. I don't know anything about putting. I don't know anything about putting. I don't know the form. I don't know what I should be going for, anything like that. So I was very much looking forward to this episode because sure, a lot of what you do off the tee matters, but you're often getting a lot of your shots within putter range anyways. So knowing a lot of that was a lot of fun for me to learn.
Yeah, I think it gives great perspective as well from seeing you play the round, seeing how bad at putting you were. There was no direction. I mean, for your athleticism, I mentioned this last week with Germ, as I said, he's trying to make it. This is what I like about it, like your competitiveness, your athleticism. He was almost making these 40-foot putts. And so now moving forward, I think it's a good, like I said, perspective to see what you were doing, what you did now, and then next episode we'll get you in another round sometime and see how the putting stroke really kind of develops over time.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to taking it out onto the course and seeing what I can do after a couple of approach shots, whether it's off the tee or wherever it is. So, Brian, you got to take a look at my shot for the first time.
Yeah.
Not just putting, but everything today. So I'd be curious, now that we're kind of sitting back here at another round, what you thought of it.
Yeah, so again, I mentioned this, earlier in the intro, like you had mentioned to me that your batting stance, was in baseball, it was already open compared to what normal people do in baseball.
Yeah.
Like your stance was open already. So it was extreme even in that sport. So then for you to do the exact same thing in disc golf made so much sense to me. So I think now that you've identified that and you've identified that, wow, this is kind of an uncommon thing for baseball. So I kind of now have to unlearn that like on the extreme side for disc golf. And I think the moment you figure out that footwork and you kind of keep working through it trial and error wise, just being an athlete, you'll figure it out. I think if you catch the bug, naturally you'll get good really quick.
The goal was to go from scratch to scratch, as the show is called. So that's certainly what I'm hoping for.
I think it's there.
From a coaching mindset, I really want you into the field putting up lots and lots of shots, of course. So with that being said,
Yes.
I do have a gift for you.
Another gift.
I have a gift for you, and I'm gonna go grab that really quick.
Okay. I don't know I have no idea what this is. You already gave me the bag. You already gave me the You already gave me the disc. The whole basket?
Yeah.
You're giving me a whole basket? What?
In order for you to go
You're
through
actually
this,
giving me this basket.
this is your basket. Discraft is giving you this basket.
Discraft is giving me an actual basket.
This is yours. This
Oh my
goes
gosh.
wherever you have room for it, even if it's 12 footers in your house, whatever. You have to use this, Trevor, okay? That you have to put reps in. You have to make those 20 footers if we're gonna get to where we need to go.
Y'all are awesome.
And so it's my job to provide the coaching part of it, my resources, and it's my job to provide you with the best equipment in the game.
You guys are awesome.
And this will help you get there.
I am speechless. Y'all already gave me way more than you needed to with the bag and the disc itself. Now I got my own basket. Now there is absolutely no excuse.
There's no
Next episode we have, I'm gonna be a lot better. I promise.
Trevor, you have a bag.
Yes.
You have a bag full of discs now.
Yes.
You have 2 of the same putter.
Yes.
You have form, a new
Sort
putting,
of.
a new putting.
Sort of. I have knowledge of form.
Yes.
That's what I have.
You have a basket.
Now I have a whole basket. Yes.
You have no excuses.
None.
Go out there and put some shots up, and let's. How about the next episode? We get our goal, huh?
Yeah. No. Next time we meet, I'm going to be at or as close as I could possibly be to a scratch golfer. I'm putting it down. I'm making it happen. I'm going to put up the reps. You guys have been so gracious with all the equipment and the knowledge that you've provided for me. So now it's time. I'm going to step up and next episode, I'm close to it. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
What's going on, man? Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Excited.
How you feeling?
Good. Nervous, but also those competitive juices are flowing.
So I've been able to bring on a few different people to help you. You know, we had Brian, we had Big Germ come.
It was great.
And give you some nice pointers.
Yeah.
And you know, this is our final day, so we have to do it. And so I went ahead and I went out and reached out to a few friends.
New friends?
New friends are gonna come and they're gonna come and help.
Okay.
I dug deep on this one, so.
All right. Okay. I'm nervous.
The first person, oh, you can see for yourself.
Oh my goodness.